There's a lot of mention of President Biden and praising President Biden. Not a lot of mention right now of Vice President Kamala Harris. So let's take that to our chief Washington correspondent, Jon Karl. Jon, talk about some of the challenges that Vice President Kamala Harris faces.
Yeah, I mean, look, she is the absolute prohibitive frontrunner to replace Biden on top of the ticket. The fact that she's the vice president, the fact that Joe Biden has endorsed her, absolutely. But there are doubts within the Democratic Party about how strong a candidate Harris would be, a general election candidate. So this is not a done deal. And Donna Brazile knows the party as well as anybody. She's on the rules committee for the convention. She understands how this is going to play out. But I do think it's important to point out that in those primaries, and Joe Biden got 14 million votes in those Democratic primaries, those ballots listed a single name, and that name was Joe Biden. Kamala Harris's name was not on the ballot in any of those primaries. So she goes into a convention without a single pledged delegate. Now, neither do any of the names that Mary Bruce just mentioned, these governors that are mentioned as possible candidates. But this is going to have to play out. Kamala Harris is the prohibitive favorite, with some people in the party, influential voices in the party, who believe that a competitive process would actually make her a stronger candidate, and some who have a doubt about how strong she would be against President Trump. Now, the interesting dance that a lot of these governors have to play as they consider whether or not they would try to come in and challenge Kamala Harris for the nomination, many of those people are both potential candidates for president and for vice president. So you make a move to challenge Kamala Harris, that probably moves you considerably down the list of potential running mates for her. So it's it's going to be a very interesting dance to play out. But it is not a done deal. She's the prohibitive favorite in this, but it is not a done deal. And I think Mary raised a very important point, which is all of these statements from these big name Democrats who could potentially be on a ticket, none of them, at least to this moment, that I've seen or that Mary's seen, has mentioned Kamala Harris.
Jon, let me ask you, because I've been talking to Democratic sources as we've been on the air, and there's a little bit of a mix of relief from some of them that wanted to see President Biden step aside, but also some anxiety that I'm hearing from some Democrats over on Capitol Hill about what comes next. Exactly what you're talking about here. Is the party going to unify behind one person? Is this going to be a messy process? What have you been hearing from your sources in the party?
Well, there's undoubtedly anxiety, but I think there is overwhelmingly a sense of relief. And I think that the desire for Democrats to, first of all, beat Donald Trump. I mean, they speak about Donald Trump like he is an existential threat to the country. So the desire to beat Donald Trump is first and foremost, and the desire to make sure that the party can maintain control of the Senate and win back control of the House. Those are the factors that unite Democrats. They may be divided and deeply divided on the means, but there was also an overwhelming sense that Joe Biden was going to threaten all three of those goals if he had stayed in. So there's a sense of relief. And I think that you will see an energized Democratic Party as they come around. It may be messy for the next few weeks, but as they come around, as they come around the process of getting behind their nominee, you are going to see a rejuvenated Democratic Party, an energized Democratic Party. You're going to see the money flowing in a big way, the money that had dried up because there were such strong doubts about Joe Biden. So yes, it's going to be unconventional. This is going to be a heck of a story to cover. Rachel, I know you're going to be in the middle of it. But this is a Democratic Party that's going to come back in a major rejuvenated way to fight what right now looks like an uphill battle against Donald Trump.